Today, we are going to tell you about a mysterious disappearance that shook the entire city of Pune in Maharashtra. Anisha Sharma, a 26-year-old successful programmer from a prestigious Brahmin family, went missing 3 days before her wedding. A wedding that was supposed to unite not only two people in love, but also overcome age-old caste barriers. What happened to the bride who dreamed of happiness despite the traditions? Did she run away from her own choice? Or did she become a victim of those who did not want to see age-old caste rules being broken? A rainy evening on September 14th, 2024. The Raja Palace restaurant in the center of Pune is packed with customers. Anisha Sharma and her fiancé Vikram Rao are sitting at one of the tables. They are discussing the last details of the wedding ceremony, which is to take place in 3 days. Waiter Pradeep Malhotra would later tell the police that the conversation between the newlyweds escalated into a tense argument. They were talking quietly, but I could see their faces changing. She was showing him something on her phone, and he was making excuses. Then she suddenly raised her voice and said, "How could you?" The girl got up and ran out of the restaurant in tears, Pradeep recalls. Vikram Rao stayed in the restaurant for another half hour, ordered a whiskey, and then left as well. That dinner was the last time Anisha Sharma was seen in public. The next morning, Anisha's parents, Raghav and Sunita Sharma, found their daughter's bed untouched. Her silver Honda City car was in its usual spot in front of the house. All of her personal belongings, including her passport, were there, but her phone was not answering. We immediately realized that something terrible had happened. Anisha never disappeared without warning. She was a responsible girl. Even when she had a fight with her father over her choice of groom, she always called her mother, says Sunita Sharma, barely holding back her tears. At 10:45 a.m., Raghav Sharma reported his daughter missing to the Koregaon Park police station. An investigation was immediately launched under the leadership of Inspector Arjun Kumar. When a person disappears on the eve of their wedding, we look at several possibilities: voluntary absconding, kidnapping, or worse. In a case as sensitive as an intercaste marriage, we have to be extra careful, says Inspector Kumar. Anisha Sharma came from a respected Brahmin family. Her father, Raghav Sharma, is a renowned professor of Sanskrit at the University of Pune, and her mother, Sunita, is a housewife with deep religious convictions. Vikram Rao, on the other hand, belonged to the Vaishya caste traditional traders. The son of a jewelry store owner, he was educated in the United States and returned to India to work for the same IT company where Anisha worked. Raghav Ji initially categorically refused to bless this marriage. This lasted for almost a year. It was only a month before the wedding that he finally agreed, and even then under pressure from his wife, says Kamini Gupta, a neighbor of the Sharmas. The groom was the first to come under suspicion. Vikram Rao was the last person to see Anisha. Their quarrel in a restaurant on the eve of the disappearance could not but attract the attention of investigators. "I don't understand why everyone is looking at me. Yes, we had a fight. Anisha showed me a message she had received from an anonymous sender. It said that I was only dating her for money. It's not true. I love Anisha," Vikram said during the first interrogation. The police checked Vikram's alibi. According to him, he went home after the restaurant and stayed there alone. Neighbors confirmed that they had seen his car in the parking lot near the house, but no one could guarantee that Vikram had not left the house at night. The second version was that Anisha was kidnapped by opponents of intercaste marriage. Despite the modernization of Indian society, caste prejudice remains deeply rooted, especially in conservative regions such as Maharashtra. We received threats from relatives, anonymous letters. Several times, our daughter was chased by unidentified men on motorcycles when she was returning from work, Raghav Sharma admitted during the interview. However, the investigators had the most questions about the behavior of Anisha's older sister, 29-year-old Priya Sharma. Unlike her parents, who were in despair, Priya remained strangely calm. Anisha has always been impulsive. Maybe she just changed her mind and decided to run away from the wedding. I wouldn't panic prematurely, Priya commented to journalists gathered outside the Sharma house. Priya worked as a teacher at Ferguson College, lived separately from her parents, but often visited them. According to neighbors, the sisters often had arguments, although they tried to maintain the image of a friendly family. Inspector Kumar drew attention to another detail. Surveillance cameras recorded that at 23:17, an hour after the quarrel in the restaurant, Anisha went to her sister's house in the Aoun neighborhood. She stayed there for about 40 minutes and then left. Priya initially denied the visit, but when she was shown the video, she changed her story. Yes, Anisha came. She was upset after a fight with Vikram. She wanted to consult me. I told her not to jump to conclusions and to talk to him the next day. She went home calm. At least I thought so, Priya says. However, Ranjit Singh, the taxi driver who picked Anisha up from her sister's house, told a different story. The girl was crying the whole way. She was on the phone with someone and said, "I know everything. How could you do this to me?" On the 5th day of the investigation, the case of Anisha Sharma's disappearance gained national publicity. What happened to the young woman who dreamed of a happy future despite caste traditions? Could she have staged her own disappearance? Or was she a victim of jealousy, envy, or bigotry? And what role does her sister Priya play in this story, whose behavior raises more and more questions? To understand the mystery of Anisha Sharma's disappearance, we need to go back 3 years, when the young programmer came for an interview at Infosys in the Gingi Technology Park. Back then, the 23-year-old graduate of the Indian Institute of Technology in Mumbai did not know that this job would change her life. Anisha stood out from the other candidates not only because of her impeccable resume, but also because of her inexhaustible energy. She had a brilliant analytical mind and the ability to find solutions where others only saw problems, says Nirav Mehta, head of human resources at Infosys. It was at this company that Anisha met Vikram Rao, who, after 7 years in Silicon Valley, returned to India to, as he puts it, give back to the country. Vikram, who was 5 years older than Anisha, was the head of the mobile app development department where Anisha had been hired. At first, they had a purely professional relationship. Anisha quickly became the star of the team, and her app for monitoring women's health during pregnancy won a government award. Vikram always supported her, but kept his distance, as a leader should, recalls colleague Sushmita Dutt. The rapprochement began during a corporate retreat in Goa, where the team celebrated the successful launch of the project. Photos from the trip that we received from employees show Anisha and Vikram together on the beach, their faces beaming with happiness. But the return to reality was not easy. Anisha came from an Orthodox Brahmin family. Her father, Raghav Sharma, often said that he was proud of his unblemished lineage, which goes back 17 generations of priests. He dreamed of marrying off his daughter to the son of a university colleague, also a Brahmin, says Anisha's friend Vandana Pushkar. When Anisha confessed to her parents that she was dating Vikram, a real scandal erupted at home. Raghav Sharma forbade his daughter to have any contact with an inferior man. According to Indian traditions, marriage between representatives of different castes, especially when the woman is from a higher caste, is perceived as a desecration of family honor. Raghavji did not speak to his daughter for 3 months. She cried at night, but did not back down. Anisha said she would rather leave home than give up her love. She was ready to break up with her family, recalls Sunita Sharma, Anisha's mother. The situation was complicated by the fact that Anisha was rapidly building her career. At 25, she became the youngest CTO in her department. Her salary was 3 times her father's. Her financial independence gave her the courage to resist family pressure. Against this backdrop, the tension between Anisha and her older sister Priya became particularly noticeable. Priya, who had a master's degree in literature, taught at a college with a much more modest salary. The Sharms' neighbors say they often heard the sisters arguing. Priya was always in the shadow of her younger sister. Parents were proud of Anisha and her successes, but rarely mentioned their eldest daughter's achievements. One day, I accidentally heard Priya shouting, "Now you're taking this away from me too," says Kamini Gupta. What they were talking about is still a mystery. But we do know that the relationship between the sisters became difficult after Priya divorced her husband, Amar Singh, 2 years after their wedding. By Indian standards, a divorced woman carries a stamp of bad luck, which complicates her position in society. At the same time, we learned about the difficult financial situation of Vikram Rao's family. Although Vikram comes from a wealthy family of jewelers, his father's business has been going through a tough time for the past 2 years. The Rao and Sons jewelry chain lost customers due to the pandemic. Partners refused to work with them because of their debts. Vikram helped his parents financially by giving almost half of his salary, says business observer Mukesh Chaudhary. Interestingly, Anisha did not seem to know the depth of her fiancé's financial problems. Surveillance footage from the restaurants where the couple dined shows that Anisha always paid. But this could have been just a gesture of a modern, independent woman. The police, led by Inspector Arjun Kumar, are scrutinizing all the details. Investigators have questioned more than 30 people, including the family, friends, and colleagues of the missing woman. We are dealing with a complicated case. In such situations, we do not rule out any version, from abduction to voluntary disappearance. But we are most concerned about one finding, says Inspector Kumar. This finding was a document found in Anisha's safe. 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks before her planned wedding, Anisha amended her will. According to the new document, in the event of her death, all her savings and insurance, totaling about 1.2 crore rupees, approximately $145,000, were to go to Vikram Rao. This is a standard practice before marriage. Anisha just wanted to protect her future husband. There is nothing suspicious about it, comments Vikram's lawyer, Dilip Agarwal. However, Inspector Kumar has a different view. Changing a will just before a disappearance always raises questions, especially when we're talking about a significant amount of money and complicated relationships between families. Suspicions are heightened after investigators discover that Vikram Rao had recently conducted internet searches about inheritance in India and how to access the accounts of a missing person. This is not yet proof, but it is a serious reason for suspicion. Mr. Rao explains that he was looking for this information for his father, whose business partner has disappeared. We are checking this version, the inspector said. Investigators are paying special attention to Anisha's relationship with her sister Priya. Employees of Infosys say that a few days before the disappearance, Priya unexpectedly appeared in the office and insisted on a private conversation with Anisha. After this meeting, Anisha was visibly upset. She was crying in the restroom. When I asked her what happened, Anisha said, "Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who deal the most painful blows," says Sushmita Dutt. After Anisha's disappearance, police analyzed her bank accounts and found another strange detail. Over the past 6 months, Anisha had been regularly transferring money to Priya's account, a total of about 5 lakh rupees, about $6,000. Priya explained these transfers as sisterly help after the divorce. But it is Priya's behavior immediately after her sister's disappearance that raises the most questions. According to neighbors, the morning after Anisha's disappearance, before her parents informed her, Priya arrived at her parents' house and went up to her sister's room. She spent about 20 minutes there alone. "I didn't take any things. I just wanted to feel my sister's energy and pray for her return," Priya explains. The investigation is ongoing, and every day new details emerge that add to the mystery of the case. Who is to blame for Anisha Sharma's disappearance? Is it the result of tangled family relationships, financial problems, or caste prejudice? Or perhaps all of these factors together created a perfect storm in which a young woman who sought only happiness disappeared. The 7th day of the investigation into Anisha Sharma's disappearance began with a new approach. Inspector Arjun Kumar has assembled a special team of cyber specialists from the Electronic Evidence Department. In today's world, people leave digital traces everywhere. Emails, messages, calls, surveillance cameras, geolocation. All of these tell a story even when a person is silent, explains Kiran Gajendra, a leading expert in digital forensics. The team gained access to Anisha's laptop, smartphone, and social media accounts. The experts started by recovering deleted files on the computer. Most people don't realize that simply deleting a file doesn't erase it completely. The data remains on the hard disk until it is overwritten, says Gajendra. After 6 hours of hard work, the experts recovered several dozen deleted emails. Among them were messages from an unknown address, Brahman's Purity, at mail.com, that contained threats against Anisha. Contaminated blood should not mix with clean blood. Your marriage is an insult to all true Brahmins. Think again before it's too late, read one of the letters, dated a month before her disappearance. We knew nothing about these threats. Anisha never told us, said Sunita Sharma, the mother of the missing person. Cybercrime experts are trying to trace the source of the emails, but the address appears to be registered through a VPN service, making it difficult to find. At the same time, other specialists analyze Anisha's phone calls. A detailed statement from the telecom operator shows that on the night of the disappearance, at 23:45, a 58-minute conversation took place between Anisha and her sister Priya. This call took place after Anisha left her sister's house. Yes, we talked. She was upset because of a fight with Vikram. I calmed her down and advised her not to jump to conclusions. We were talking about wedding preparations, about the saris she was planning to wear, Priya explains during the second interrogation. However, the surveillance cameras near the house where Anisha lived recorded that after this phone conversation, the girl returned home in a state of extreme emotional distress. The video shows her quickly getting out of a taxi, wiping her tears, and saying something into her phone before entering the house. She was very upset. I've never seen her like that before. Usually Ms. Sharma was always smiling and greeting all the guards by name, says Santosh Yadav, a night guard at the apartment complex. An unexpected breakthrough in the case comes when experts recover deleted messages from Priya Sharma's cell phone, which she voluntarily provided for examination. In a hidden folder, they find a series of messages between Priya and Vikram Rao dating back to the last 3 months. She doesn't suspect anything yet. Continue as planned, Priya writes in one of the messages. Don't worry. After the wedding, everything will change. We will be together as we dreamed, Vikram replies. When investigators show these messages to Priya, she initially denies their authenticity, but then changes her tactics. Yes, there was a connection between us, but it's not what you think. Vikram asked me to help him prepare a surprise for Anisha after the wedding. We plan to give her a trip to Europe, says Priya. Vikram Rao, on the other hand, categorically denies any romantic connection with his fiancée's sister. This is absurd. I love Anisha and only Anisha. However, the situation becomes more complicated when a witness comes forward, Ankit Joshi, a resident of the house opposite the Charms. He claims that at around 2:30 a.m. on the day of the disappearance, he saw Vikram's car, a black BMW X5, parked near Anisha's house. I definitely recognized the car. It has a distinctive license plate with the initials VR. I was returning from my night shift and noticed it because the car was parked with its lights off in an unusual place, Ankit said. Vikram denies being near Anisha's house that night. I was at home, sleeping. The car was parked in the underground parking lot of my house all night. However, the security guard of the residential complex where Vikram lives cannot confirm that the car did not leave the territory that night, as the camera at the exit of the parking lot was malfunctioning. The real shock for the investigation comes when the camera footage from an HDFC Bank ATM located in the Phoenix Mall, 5 kilometers from Anisha's house, is revealed. The video, dated 9:17 a.m., the day after the disappearance, clearly shows Anisha Sharma withdrawing rupees. 50,000. This is impossible. We found her out of the house at 8:30 and her bed was not occupied. Raghav Sharma, the father of the missing girl, reacts in shock. Inspector Kumar personally watches the recording several times. The video is definitely Anisha Sharma. She is wearing different clothes than the day before in the restaurant, She looks calm, acts confident. This completely changes our theory. This finding gives rise to a new version. Anisha could have faked her own disappearance. But why? And did she act alone, or did someone help her? A check of other cameras in the mall shows that Anisha arrived there by taxi, and after withdrawing money, got into another taxi. The police quickly find the driver of the second taxi, Prabhat Mishra. Yes, I remember this passenger. She asked me to take her to the train station. She was very silent, looking out the window all the time. At the station, she gave me a nice tip and quickly disappeared into the crowd, the taxi driver says. At the Pune train station, cameras captured Anisha buying a ticket to Mumbai for the morning express, but it remains unknown whether she boarded the train. The cameras on the platform were down due to maintenance. Meanwhile, experts discover another mystery in Anisha's laptop. 2 days before she disappeared, she was looking for information about changing her identity, living without documents, and the safest places in South India. This may indicate that the disappearance was well planned, but the question remains, what made a successful young woman drop everything and run away on the eve of her wedding, says Inspector Kumar. Returning to the phone records, investigators find that a week before Anisha disappeared, she called a lawyer specializing in family law 3 times. His name is Rahul Datta. Anisha was consulting about the possibility of breaking off her engagement and the legal consequences. She mentioned that she had received information that made her reconsider her decision to get married. But she did not give any specific details, citing confidentiality, the lawyer said. The situation becomes even more confusing when digital experts find a deleted photo on Anisha's smartphone taken 2 days before she disappeared. The picture shows a diary page with handwritten text. I can't believe they both betrayed me. How could I have been so blind? But I won't let them win. I have a plan. This is Anisha's handwriting, I recognize it. But I don't understand who she is writing about. Who betrayed her? Asks Sunita Sharma, looking at the photo. Inspector Kumar is increasingly inclined to believe that the solution to Anisha's disappearance lies in a complex love triangle. But who is the third participant in this drama? Priya, Vikram, or perhaps someone else, still unknown to the investigation? On the 10th day of the investigation, the police receive a warrant for a full search of Vikram Rao's house. In his bedroom, under the mattress, they find a flash drive with financial documents. Among them is a plan to set up a joint business between Vikram and Priya, dated 2 months earlier. There is no mention of Anisha in the documents. She didn't know about this project. We wanted to surprise her after the wedding, Vikram explains. But digital evidence tells a different story. Who's telling the truth in this confusing case? And where is Anisha Sharma now? Alive, dead, or perhaps voluntarily disappeared to start a new life away from those she no longer trusts? Day 12 of the Anisha Sharma investigation begins with an unexpected call to the police station. Deepti Agarwal, a school friend of the Sharma sisters, returns to Pune from Bangalore to share information she thinks might be important to the investigation. I saw the news about Anisha's disappearance and couldn't stay silent. The story between the Sharma sisters is much more complicated than it seems, Deepti tells Inspector Kumar. Deepti, who now works as a pharmaceutical researcher, went to high school with Priya and then kept in touch with Anisha. According to her, the tension between the sisters has always existed, but it became especially acute during their teenage years. It all started when Anisha was 15. She fell in love with a boy from a parallel class, Rohit Kapoor. He was the captain of the school's cricket team, and all the girls dreamed of him. When Rohit invited Anisha to the school festival, she was overjoyed, recalls Deepti. But the joy didn't last long. A week later, Priya, who was 3 years older, started flirting with Rohit. She offered to help him with his entrance exams, and soon Rohit lost interest in his younger sister. This was not the only case. It was as if Priya was deliberately trying to take away Anisha's boyfriends. She did it subtly, giving the impression that the boys were choosing her, the more mature and interesting one, says Deepti. When asked whether this old jealousy could have turned into something more serious, Deepti does not answer immediately. Priya was always intense. She didn't like to lose, especially to her younger sister, whom her parents considered to be more perfect. Inspector Kumar instructs his team to look into Priya Sharma's financial affairs. The results surprise even experienced investigators. Over the past 2 years, Priya had accumulated significant debts, about 12 lakh rupees, approximately $14,500, on credit cards and consumer loans. Priya was earning a decent salary as a teacher, but she was living far beyond her means. Designer clothes, expensive restaurants, trips to resorts. It was as if she was trying to keep up with her successful sister, explains financial analyst Ningjay Shende. The most interesting thing is that a week before Anisha disappeared, all of Priya's debts were fully paid off. She received an amount of 15 lakh rupees, about $18,000, from an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. When investigators ask Priya about this, she initially refuses to answer, citing personal circumstances. Under pressure from the evidence, she changes her story. Yes, I had financial problems. After the divorce, I was left without support, but I wanted to maintain a certain standard of living. My old friend, who now lives abroad, lent me the money. This has nothing to do with Anisha's disappearance, Priya insists. Meanwhile, digital experts continue to analyze Priya's smartphone. In a hidden folder, they find deleted photos and messages that suggest a romantic relationship between her and Vikram. One of the pictures, dated 3 months before she disappeared, shows them together in a room at the Le Méridien Hotel in Mumbai. I wish we could be together openly, but things will change soon, I promise, Vikram wrote in the message to this photo. The police summon Vikram for a second interrogation and show him the recovered materials. This time, he changes his story. Yes, there was a brief affair between me and Priya. It happened when Anisha and I had a fight and separated for a month. I was upset and vulnerable, and Priya offered support. But then Anisha and I made up, and I immediately ended the relationship. Priya promised to keep everything a secret, Vikram explains. However, the timestamps on the messages show that the romantic communication continued until the day Anisha disappeared. During a detailed search of Vikram's house, investigators find a package of documents hidden in a ventilation shaft. Among them is a business plan for creating a chain of designer clothing boutiques called PV Elegance, Priya Vikram. According to the plan, the initial investment was to be 1 crore rupees, about $120,000, an amount that almost exactly matches Anisha's savings. We didn't steal anything. Yes, we were planning a joint business, but we wanted to take a bank loan. No one was after Anisha's money, Vikram says indignantly during interrogation. Investigators, however, find an email from a bank that denied Vikram a business loan because of his father's poor credit rating. On the 15th day of the investigation, a new, unexpected line of evidence emerges. Technical experts discover that Anisha had been using a secret Instagram account for the past year, under the pseudonym Desert Bloom 93. Through this account, she communicated with a user named Mumbai Architect AJ. Their messages indicate a close, possibly romantic relationship. They discussed meetings, exchanged personal photos. In the last message, sent 3 days before her disappearance, Anisha wrote, "I can't live like this anymore. You were right about them." It's time to change everything, said Amit Govindan, a cybercrime specialist. The police are trying to identify Anisha's mysterious interlocutor. The IP address points to the Bandra neighborhood of Mumbai, but they have not been able to identify the person yet. The Sharma family is shocked by this discovery. Raghav Sharma cannot believe that his daughter could have had a secret relationship. Anisha has always been an honest girl. She could not have deceived Vikram and us like this. But the mother, Sunita Sharma, admits after much reflection that she has noticed changes in her daughter's behavior. For the past few months, she had been traveling to Mumbai frequently, allegedly on company business. She came back pensive and dreamy. I would ask her if everything was going well with the wedding preparations, and she would always answer, "Yes, Mom. Everything is fine." But I could see the doubt in her eyes, says Sunita. Meanwhile, Inspector Kumar gets permission to view the surveillance footage of Priya's house. The footage, dated the night after Anisha's disappearance, shows Priya carrying a large suitcase into her apartment. She is assisted by a man who looks like Vikram, although his face is not fully visible. "I was moving my books from the university library. My colleague Pramod Sinha is on the recording. He just helped me carry the heavy suitcase," Priya explains when she is shown the video. But forensics confirm that it is Vikram who is in the video. When questioned about it, he admits that he lied about his whereabouts that night. "Yes, I was helping Priya with her things. We were talking about Anisha's disappearance, trying to understand what could have happened. I didn't say anything about it before because I was afraid you would misinterpret our meeting," Vikram justified. On the 18th day of the investigation, the police interrogated Dipti Agarwal again. This time, she tells them about a strange meeting with Priya a week before Anisha's disappearance. "We met by chance at the Blue Tokai coffee shop. Priya was very excited, saying that her life would soon change dramatically. She said a phrase that seemed strange to me at the time. Sometimes you have to take a decisive step to get what is rightfully yours," Dipti recalls. When investigators ask Priya about this conversation, she responds nervously, "I was talking about a new position at the university. Don't make a big deal out of it." With each passing day of the investigation, it becomes more and more apparent that the relationship between the Sharma sisters was much more complicated than it first appeared. Could Priya's long-standing jealousy and her secret affair with Vikram have led to a plot against Anisha? Or perhaps Anisha herself, having learned of the betrayal, decided to disappear to start a new life with her mysterious acquaintance from Mumbai. The investigation continues, and with each new piece of evidence, the story becomes more and more confusing and disturbing. The 21st day of the investigation into Anisha Sharma's disappearance begins with an operational meeting at the Koregaon Park police station. Inspector Arjun Kumar, plagued by insomnia, looks at the photos on the whiteboard. We have two main suspects, Vikram Rao and Priya Sharma. There is evidence of their secret relationship behind Anisha's back. There is a financial motive, access to the victim's savings. But there is no body or direct evidence of the crime, Kumar summarizes. Suddenly, Junior Inspector Sarbjit Singh enters the office with an urgent message. The automatic license plate recognition system on the Pune-Mumbai highway has detected a car rented in the name of Vikram Rao 3 days before Anisha's disappearance. A white Hyundai i20 rented from Zoomcar. It was rented 4 days ago, but not returned within the specified period. The company filed a missing car report, Singh said. The police immediately send patrols to search for the suspicious vehicle. 4 hours later, the car is found abandoned in the parking lot of a shopping center in the suburb of Hadapsar, 15 kilometers from Anisha's home. Forensic experts carefully examine the interior and trunk. The car is clean on the outside, nothing suspicious. But in the trunk, under the spare tire, they find a silk scarf with dark spots. "It's Anisha's scarf. I gave it to her for her birthday," Sunita Sharma confirms in tears when she is shown a photo of the discovery. A rapid analysis confirms the worst fears. The stains on the scarf are blood. The samples are immediately sent for DNA testing. The police obtain an arrest warrant for Vikram Rao on suspicion of kidnapping and possible murder. Vikram is detained in his office. In front of his shocked colleagues, he is led away in handcuffs. At the police station, he continues to insist on his innocence. "I didn't take that car. Someone is using my documents. I didn't see that scarf. For God's sake, I loved Anisha," he shouts as he is taken to the cell. Meanwhile, DNA test results confirm that the blood on the scarf belongs to Anisha Sharma. Vikram Rao is officially charged with murder. The case seems to be coming to a close. During the detailed interrogation, Vikram partially changes his testimony. He confesses to financial fraud and secret meetings with Priya, but categorically denies any involvement in the disappearance of his fiancée. "Yes, I made a mistake. I had a relationship with Priya and dreamed of doing business together. I had financial problems and hoped that marriage with Anisha would help solve them. But I didn't kill her. We had a fight that night because she showed me a message from someone who told her about my meetings with Priya. Anisha was furious but alive and well when we parted ways in the restaurant, insists Vikram. The police immediately summon Priya Sharma for a second interrogation. This time, the investigators push harder, mentioning her possible complicity in the murder. Priya begins to give contradictory testimony. At first, she denies any romantic relationship with Vikram, but when she is shown the recovered messages, she changes her story. Okay, we had an affair, but it was Vikram who insisted on a secret relationship. He said he would marry Anisha for money and then find a way to divorce her and be with me. I agreed to wait because I loved him, but I never wanted my sister to die, Priya admits, sobbing. When asked about the night of Anisha's disappearance, Priya says, Anisha did come to see me. She was furious, screaming that she knew about Vikram and me. Someone had sent her photos of us from the hotel. She threatened to call off the wedding and tell her parents. I tried to calm her down, but she left. Then we talked on the phone. She was crying, and I begged her not to jump to conclusions. Why didn't you tell us about this fight earlier? Asks Inspector Kumar. I was afraid that you would think I had a motive to hurt her, Priya replies, looking down. The story becomes even more mysterious when forensic scientist Malik Ghatak reports that the amount of blood on the scarf is not enough to cause a fatal injury. The stains are most likely from a nosebleed or a small cut. It's not enough to talk about murder, he explains. Investigators are beginning to doubt whether Anisha was really the victim of a crime, or is someone trying to frame Vikram. The 25th day of the investigation brings a real shock. Police officer Niven Reddy, while reviewing CCTV footage on the NH-48 highway leading from Pune to Bangalore, discovers footage from a Bharat Petroleum gas station in Satara, a town 100 kilometers from Pune. The video, dated September 16th, 2 days after the disappearance, clearly shows a woman who matches Anisha Sharma in appearance and attire. She calmly walks out of a gas station with a bottle of water, gets into a gray Maruti Swift, and drives away. The recording lasts only 12 seconds, but it turns the entire investigation upside down. It's definitely her. The same mole on her neck, the same hair, even her favorite shoulder bag, Sunita Sharma confirms, barely holding back tears of relief when she is shown the recording. Forensic experts confirm that the video is not fake. Facial recognition experts say with 95% certainty that Anisha Sharma is in the video. If it is indeed Anisha, she is alive and seems to have left Pune voluntarily, says Inspector Kumar. The police immediately start checking all the surveillance cameras within a 20-kilometer radius of the gas station. They manage to track the car to an intersection with a secondary road leading to the mountain resort of Mahabaleshwar. Then the trail is lost. There are no surveillance cameras on mountain roads. The most interesting thing is that the video shows a man driving a Maruti Swift. Although his face is not in the frame, you can see his dark skin tone and dark wavy hair. That's not Vikram, says Inspector Kumar confidently, comparing the silhouette to the suspect's photographs. After the discovery of the video with Anisha, the charges against Vikram are reduced to fraud and financial fraud. He is released on bail, but is forbidden to leave the city. The investigation now focuses on identifying the mysterious man in the video. The police check Anisha's circle of acquaintances, but no one recognizes the silhouette in the blurry footage. However, the owner of a roadside dhaba, eatery, a kilometer away from the gas station, recalls seeing a couple matching the description. They stopped to have lunch, acted like lovers, constantly holding hands, whispering to each other. The woman was urban, wearing a nice outfit. The man looked like an architect or engineer. He had a folder with drawings, says Radheshyam Patel, the owner of the restaurant. The mention of an architect leads investigators back to Anisha's mysterious Instagram interlocutor, Mumbai architect AJ. Digital experts are working intensively to identify this user. Meanwhile, Priya Sharma, upon learning about the video with her living sister, suddenly changes her tone. She no longer looks guilty or scared. I said from the beginning that Anisha could have faked her own disappearance. She always loved to be dramatic, she tells journalists who have surrounded her outside her parents' house. Raghav Sharma, the sister's father, is stunned by the latest developments, especially the betrayal of his eldest daughter. How could she? How could she have an affair with her own sister's fiancé? This is a violation of all our traditions, all moral principles. He is outraged. But even now, when there is evidence that Anisha is alive, many questions remain. Who left her scarf with blood in the rented car? Who tried to frame Vikram? And most importantly, where is Anisha now? And why did she run away like that without telling any of her family? The 27th day of the investigation. Cybercrime experts finally crack the complex cipher that protected the Mumbai architect AJ account. They get access to the full correspondence with Anisha and the user's photos. He is a young man of Indian origin, about 30 years old. According to his messages, he is an architect who studied in Toronto and is currently working on projects in Mumbai. He and Anisha seem to have known each other for over a year, reports Rahul Dewan, head of the cybercrime unit. Inspector Kumar stares at the photo on the screen. A tall, slender man with a friendly smile and expressive eyes. Behind him is a futuristic building of glass and steel. Who is this mysterious acquaintance of Anisha's? And was it with him that she disappeared, staging her own kidnapping? On the 30th day of the investigation into the disappearance of Anisha Sharma, Inspector Arjun Kumar receives the results of a search of the Immigration Service databases. The mysterious Mumbai architect AJ is identified as Ajay Khanna, a 31-year-old architect who graduated from the University of Toronto and worked in Canada for 5 years. He returned to India a year ago to head the Indian office of the Canadian architectural firm Skyline Innovations. We found his office in the Bandra Kurla business district of Mumbai. At our request, the local police visited the premises, but Ajay Khanna has been missing for 2 weeks. His secretary said that he had taken a leave of absence for family reasons, reports Inspector Pradeep Sharma of the Mumbai police station. Ajay Khanna's name immediately evokes a reaction in the Sharma family. Raghav Sharma, Anisha's father, recognizes him. Ajay went to the same school as my daughters. He was in the same class as Priya, but he was friends with Anisha. They participated in school math competitions together. But after school, they didn't seem to keep in touch. Sunita Sharma adds, Ajay came from a Vaishya family, just like Vikram. His father owned an electronics store. He was very bright, but not from our circle. Raghav never approved of their friendship. Oh my God, has Anisha been doing this all along? An analysis of the Instagram correspondence shows that Anisha and Ajay resumed communication about a year ago when he returned to India. Their conversations gradually became more personal. In one message dated 5 months before his disappearance, Anisha writes, "Sometimes I wonder how my life would have turned out if I had gone to Canada with you then, as you suggested. Maybe everything would have been different." The police find old photos from the high school yearbook showing Anisha and Ajay together during a school science fair. Digital experts also discover that Anisha had been traveling regularly to Mumbai over the past 6 months, ostensibly on company business, but half of these trips were not supported by official business trips. It looks like they were having an affair behind Vikram's back. She was planning her escape and staged her own disappearance to start a new life with her longtime love, suggests Inspector Kumar. However, the story takes an unexpected turn when cybercrime experts find photos of Anisha and Ajay in Vikram's deleted phone files, taken surreptitiously during their meeting at a restaurant in Mumbai. The files are dated a month before the disappearance. During the second interrogation, Vikram finally confesses, "Yes, I knew about their meeting. I hired a private investigator when I noticed that Anisha had become distant. When I saw the photos, I was furious. But then I thought I could use it." Use it? How? The inspector asks. "I blackmailed Anisha, threatened to tell her parents about her secret meetings with a guy from outside their caste. For Raghavaji, this would be a double blow, not only a betrayal, but also a connection with the Vaishya again. Anisha agreed to increase the amount she was investing in our business with Priya, Vikram admits, looking down. So you and Priya were really planning to use Anisha's money? Kumar clarifies. At first, we really fell in love. But then, we saw an opportunity. I marry Anisha, get access to her money, and then accidentally find evidence of her infidelity. According to Indian law, this is grounds for divorce without division of property. I would have kept the money, and Priya would have kept their share of the business. Vikram does not finish his sentence, covering his face with his hands. Day 42 of the investigation. DNA analysis on the scarf with blood confirms that the blood belongs to Anisha, but experts discover an interesting detail. The samples contain traces of menstrual blood. The scarf was most likely used as a hygiene product on critical days, not as evidence of violence. Someone deliberately planted this scarf in the rented car to accuse Vikram of murder, says Inspector Kumar. Suspicion falls on Priya, who had access to her sister's belongings. Under pressure from the evidence, she confesses, "Yes, I planted the scarf. I found it among Anisha's things when I was cleaning her room. I rented the car with Vikram's documents, which he had recklessly left with me. I wanted him to be arrested. He promised that we would be together, but he was always hesitating." The puzzle is gradually coming together. Anisha accidentally learned about Vikram's relationship with her sister and their plan to use her money. Shocked by the double betrayal, she decided to disappear, turning to the only person she could trust for help, Ajay Khanna, her first love from school. On the 50th day of the investigation, she receives a message from the Canadian Immigration Service. According to them, Ajay Khanna arrived in Toronto 2 weeks ago. He was accompanied by a woman traveling on an Indian passport named Amrita Khanna. The couple declared their intention to settle in Canada permanently. We cannot say with certainty that Amrita Khanna is Anisha Sharma. The visa photo shows a woman wearing a hijab. Her face is partially covered, but the age, height, and general parameters match, says an immigration official. Inspector Kumar looks at the footage from the cameras at Chhatrapati Shivaji Airport in Mumbai. One of the images shows a woman wearing a hijab boarding a flight to Toronto, accompanied by a man who looks like Ajay Khanna. The woman's face is turned to the side, and it is impossible to say with certainty whether it is Anisha. Thus, the case of Anisha Sharma's disappearance remains officially unsolved. The police have 3 versions. Anisha is alive and ran away with Ajay Khanna, faking her own disappearance to start a new life away from betrayal and caste restrictions. Priya and Vikram are involved in Anisha's disappearance, and the story of Ajay and the mysterious woman at the airport is just a coincidence or a deliberate fake. Anisha was indeed planning to escape with Ajay, but something went wrong, and her true fate remains unknown. Vikram Rao is sentenced to 3 years in prison for fraud and financial fraud. Priya Sharma is accused of obstructing the investigation and tampering with evidence, and receives a suspended sentence. The Sharma family is divided by grief and betrayal. Raghav Sharma disowns his eldest daughter, blaming her for all the troubles. Sunita spends her days in prayer, hoping that her younger daughter is alive and happy wherever she is. 2 months after the official investigation was closed, Sunita Sharma receives an anonymous letter with a Canadian stamp. The envelope contains only a photograph of a woman's hand with a distinctive mole on her wrist, just like Anisha's. She is wearing a gold-engraved ring, a +A. No signature, no return address. A week after receiving the photo, Sunita, secretly from her husband, applies for a tourist visa to Canada. "I just want to know that she is alive and happy. I will not interfere in her new life. A mother has the right to know," she says, wiping away her tears. The story of Anisha Sharma's disappearance reminds us that the truth is often hidden behind several layers of lies. Caste prejudice, financial ambition, jealousy, envy, and betrayal are intertwined in a complex knot that may never be fully untied. Was Anisha Sharma a victim of crime or the author of her own escape from a society that tried to control her life? We can only guess, but her story continues to resonate in modern India, where tradition and progress, caste prejudice and personal freedom, family obligations and the right to happiness come into conflict every day, forcing young people to make difficult choices. Every time a young woman boards a flight to a distant country at the airport in Mumbai or Delhi, we wonder, is this another Anisha seeking freedom? And is escape the best way out when society refuses to change its millennial prejudices? The caste system in India has been officially abolished, but unofficially continues to determine the fate of millions of people. Only time will tell if love, the most powerful of human instincts, can overcome the barriers erected by thousands of years of tradition. In the meantime, somewhere in the suburbs of Toronto, there may be a woman who was once called Anisha Sharma, a woman who decided that freedom and happiness are worth the price of losing the past. And who are we to judge her choice?